No.
I can't remember if that was in 12 or 13 or something like that.
It was.
Are we ready? All right, welcome everyone to the City Council meeting for Monday, July 28th. If we could have a roll call, Madam Clerk, to establish a quorum.
David Avanzino.
Here.
Steve Holofield.
Here.
Harry Myers absent with notice. Rochelle Moyer.
Here.
Susan Gerning.
Here.
Terry McClung.
Here.
If we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, get a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by McClung and second by Mr. Holyfield. Any additions or anything? Corrections?
Need to remove the minutes.
Got the minutes to defer the minutes for the last meeting? Okay,
And we don't have the cemetery second quarter report.
all right. All right, so we'll be deferring the minutes for last council meeting, and also we haven't gotten the cemetery report quarter this time. So, other than that, everything should stay the same. So, get a motion to approve.
I move we approve the agenda as presented.
Get a
Second.
All right. Mr. Holyfield made the motion, and Ms. Grunin seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We have Susan Harmon is renewing her application for the Planning Commission.
I move we approve Susan Harmon for the Planning Commission renewal.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving Susan Harmon for another term on the Planning Commission, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Just for the public's information, we have a vacancy on the HDC, so if you're out there, please put in an application if you're interested in doing that. Also in your packet for your information is Doug Beard's nomination on the Cemetery Commission, which we'll be bringing up at the next council meeting. At this point, we will have our public comments. Please limit your time to 3 minutes.
Sorry. Good evening, Council. I'm Ferguson Stewart, and I'm 7 Harvey Road. And first off, thank you for renewing Susan Harmon. She's a great commissioner on the Planning Commission. So thank you for that. The first item is utility bills. I know that right now we're going to be having a public hearing on the 11th to discuss increase of sewer rates. Right now, when I got here in 2012, my utility bills were $40 for water and sewer and everything else the city provides. Now it's over $110. So that's just 2 people. That's both on Social Security, 2 people. So 4,000 gallons of water, and it's $110. So I want you to think about that, okay? Think about that. The next thing is the hospital commission. I am in sync 100% with what I think the mayor's into, that says commissioners are hard to find. These commissioners on the hospital commission, I know them, and I've met the CEO at the hospital, and I think that these people will get the job done. So one thing about commissioners and anything else that are volunteers, it's kind of like what Nathan Hale said, either one of us fall, we all fall. So those commissioners are volunteers. And I'm afraid if you do anything to impact those commissioners by threats or innuendos, that I'm afraid you're going to lose those commissioners, those qualified hospital experienced commissioners, which I am not one of those. I'm just a poor telecom guy that volunteers his time. Okay? So anyway, that was the next thing. The next step, at Oak Ridge and Harvey Road, this is something probably for Public Works and the police department. There's a stop sign that's covered in leaves and brush, and no one can see it, and there's almost been an accident every other day. So Harvey Road and Oak Ridge stop sign, if it could be looked at. That's all I've got. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Samantha Webb, former medical records clerk, Eureka Springs Hospital. What you allow will continue. If this were taking place in any other town, heads would have rolled and justice served long ago, but not Eureka Springs. All of us put our hearts into what we did for the hospital until they chose to yank it all away, cut us loose, and wash their hands of the whole thing, and they're getting away with it. Shannon McGee's husband hit the nail on the head when he said this is illegal and immoral. Almost 9 months of newspaper articles, meetings, and the question so many of us have, why? Why are members of the hospital administration and commission determined to avoid accountability and transparency, not just when it comes to finances, but the treatment of their current and former employees? Why are they still being protected? Why are Jody Edmondson and Cynthia Asbury still employed? Why was an anonymous letter allowed to be read? Why are we never on the agenda? Again, the employees. Why is it that the mayor has no idea what you're talking about, yet the moment any of you start to delve into something, he's only too quick and too willing to defend the administration and commission? Will the mayor and hospital commission prove David Avanzino wrong and allow us to see that they are not, in fact, ignoring the human side in all of this? And why would former chair Barbara Dix be concerned about a toxic workplace lawsuit? When someone shows you who they are the first time, believe them. I'm pretty sure they've done just that since the very beginning. It's just that it only came to light through the articles released by The Independent and Times-Echo, even more so in recent months and weeks. Whether people want to believe it or not, there are complaints that are valid and those that aren't. Please give a damn about the hospital. Use the correct vernacular, like little kids throwing a temper tantrum, insulting every bit of it. To Mr. Avanzino, thank you for acknowledging all of us at the last workshop. With the financial situation and the possibility of the hospital's closure, we realize we're not exactly on the radar. We, meaning current and former employees. Charles M. Blow said, "One doesn't have to operate with great malice to do great harm. The absence of empathy and understanding is sufficient. In fact, a man convinced of his virtue, even in the midst of his vice, is the worst kind of man." Words worth remembering. There's a reason that employee after employee after employee came before you to share their experiences. Do not let that be for nothing. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Heather Wilson. June 23rd, this council voted to request a reconciliation of the hospital's finances. It has repeatedly been referred to as an audit since then. Conflating the two is confusing the public, and it's stalling progress. So as of now, there's been no reconciliation, no clarity, no tangible action. I'm asking that during tonight's meeting, you please clarify which path you intend to pursue, and I strongly urge the council to consider engaging a forensic accountant. And yes, 4 of us has them, but I would recommend an independent one, regardless of which approach you choose. Moving on, in my doctoral work, which I'm extremely passionate about, and as faculty at the U of A, I study and design curricula on systems thinking, a concept that seems simple on the surface. When one part of a system fails, it strains the entire structure. You ignore it, and then you've got problems. Proactive systems stay healthier. You schedule checkups before your body breaks down. You change the oil in your car before the engine runs dry. When breakdowns become catastrophic, whether a car, whether a medical situation, or your business, you bring in the right expert, a mechanic, a doctor, a systems leader. Our town is well past this point. It's time to bring in a city manager who truly understands how every part of this community fits together and who has the professional skill to rebuild the structures that are failing us. If this hasn't yet been fully considered, I urge you to do so. If it has, I ask you to reconsider it with fresh perspective. A quick review of Arkansas code shows that the responsibility for this decision lies squarely on the City Council. Excuse me. While it may not be possible to immediately address every failing aspect of city leadership, it is within your reach to make meaningful action happen. This means removing those who are not serving the community effectively and placing capable leaders where they are needed most, even when it's uncomfortable or opposed to personal alliance. There has been talk that making these types of changes to leadership would cause failure, particularly where the hospital is concerned. That is not how resilient systems operate. Healthy systems, they withstand change. In fact, it's often required to grow stronger. We've seen this in other parts of city government. We've adapted, we've improved when we've changed and embraced those implementations. Despite statements and innuendos to the contrary, you do have the authority to repair and rebuild this system. Use it, please. Thank you.
All right.
Excuse me, Mayor, I have a question. Did we ask for additions to the agenda?
Beg your pardon?
Did we ask for additions to the agenda?
Yes, we did.
I missed it. Is there any way that I can add something?
We can put it on next week.
Okay.
All right, unfinished business, sewer updates. Simon?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. So for sewer updates, over the course of the last week or two, UES completed the geotechnical borings at the wastewater treatment plant that are required for the remodeling project. All of our effluent test results are coming back well within tolerance. We haven't had any discharges that were outside of compliance in quite a while. And we're still waiting on the arrival of the 3 valves that we ordered. Aside from that, that's all I have to update.
All right.
Any questions?
Mr. McClung?
Simon, what, compared to this year to last year, the year before, the volume of sewage, is it up, down?
No, it's pretty consistent.
Pretty consistent
Yes, sir.
with even 2 years ago?
Yeah, I don't think there's been much fluctuation as far as the sewer goes coming into the plant. It really depends on how rainy of a year it's been, and considering the rain events that we've had has been pretty average.
Okay.
All right, anybody else have anything? Kind of leads into our water leak remediation.
So as of last week, I started creating a new risk and resiliency assessment, and I'm also going to be updating our emergency response plan to comply with the EPA requirements. I have to send in and get certified a new risk and resilience assessment and emergency response plan within the next year, so I'm working on that. We have 5 new water taps scheduled, 148 Passion Play, 2 Pine Oak, 3025 East Van Buren, 65 Stopple, and 640 Hyde Hollow. We have 2 active water leaks as of this afternoon, which is Cliff Street and Amazon above the Armstrong above the art wall. We're going to need to rebuild or replace the dual check valve assembly at the 23 South water booster pump station. The thing is ringing really bad. I'm sorry, I get really distracted by the ringing in the speakers. But the dual check valve that's in that booster pump station was put in 1970. It's a 1978 year model, and it's got a piece inside of it that's rotted away, and I don't know if I can find that piece. We're going to be scheduling a hydrant replacement for the intersection of Hillside and Main Street, and then we need to excavate and reinstall the valve risers in front of the St. Elizabeth Church on Passion Place. So these are all things that are on our agenda, on our list of things to do, aside from our day-to-day operations. I want to let the public know that we do have 4 openings in Public Works right now. So if you guys are looking for a job, please reach out. And aside from that, I'll stand for questions. Yes, sir.
2 things. One, on Cliff Street, what size of line is that you're repairing there?
Yeah, it's a 2-inch line that runs down Cliff Street, and it's kind of like the same line that they ran down Van Buren, and it's just rotted out. There's a T for a house that used to be there. The house is no longer there, but the T is what's leaking. We're going to have to shut off a pretty large area to get that shut down. We've been kind of called off because we had other bigger water leaks that we had to tend to. Hopefully we can get back to that this week and try to get that taken care of.
That's been going on for a little while now.
A couple weeks, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we know what percentage of water we're still losing currently?
Yeah, we're losing in the low 40s, like 41, 42% water loss.
42%?
Yeah, approximately. It varies.
Did you ever get your camera? Is that, you're using it in the sewer lines now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is it proved to be effective yet, or have you got to use it much?
Yeah, we've used it a couple times to try to figure out what's causing some issues. We had a storm drain that clogged up right across the street from City Hall, and it was giving us some issues. We dreaded it, tried to get it to clear out, and had real big issues trying to get it cleared out. And it turned out there was a gallon paint jug that was jammed down in it. We ended up, getting it cleared out. It was about 100 feet down the line, but, we had one hell of a time trying to get that paint jug out of there. But, aside from that, we were able to tell if there's a root ball or some other issues like that. If I had a full crew, I'd probably have more staff dedicated to be running that camera more often. It's just we don't have the personnel to man that thing 24 hours a day, kind of.
They're getting better at operating it, and I'm sure there's a trick to it.
Oh, it's pretty easy. It's just an iPad. Yeah, there's no real trick to it. Anybody can run it.
Okay. All right.
Anyone else? All right, Simon, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next item of business is new business is ambulance rate increase. Get a motion to discuss.
Move to discuss.
Second.
Gary, I think you're here. In your packet, there is also additional data that Gary's presented or put together for your information. And then also is the ordinance in here. So, Gary, you want to kind of bring us up to date on how we got here?
Okay, you should have 5 documents in that packet that I passed out. The first document is entitled Ground Ambulance Cost Data Collection Initiative. This was done over the past 4 years. All the ambulance services in the United States had to participate. It was not an optional thing. As a matter of fact, there was a pretty stiff penalty if you didn't report. And what it was aimed to do was to compare the cost that it takes to make an ambulance call versus how much you're reimbursed. On the second page of that document, you can kind of see the overall cost per transport is $2,673, with the average reimbursement being $1,147. We've always known that there was a pretty big disparity between how much it costs versus how much we collect. You can kind of read some of the advocacy efforts and what they have planned next, but Medicare and Medicaid both pay very poorly compared to private insurance. And where that comes into, I'll kind of get into where that comes into play. The next document is the ordinance as it is written now. Ordinance number 2239. That is the ordinance that was passed in 2016. The next document is House Bill 1776. And this is why it kind of gets back to why it's important that we take a look at our ambulance fee numbers, is because when they passed this bill, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the No Surprises Act. It was a federal act, went into effect in January of 22, and basically it had to do with balance billing in emergency situations. It was to create more transparency between billing practices so that people didn't get a large bill, so they have to basically accept what the insurance pays for those services. And this is the bill that included ambulances in the state of Arkansas, and that is reflected on the third page, line 17 through 20. A payment made under this section shall be considered payment in full for the covered services provided, except for any co-payment, co-insurance, deductible, and other cost-sharing feature amount required to be paid by the enrollee. So basically, we have to accept insurance payment as payment in full. Now, that kind of left most ambulance services kind of out high and dry, but they did this year, and this was just passed, I believe this past month, House Bill 1850, which is now Act 867, that allows us to charge up to 325% of what the Medicare rural rate is, and that's kind of what we're proposing. This does hurt one demographic of people, and that's people that do not have insurance at all. If a person has insurance, they still pay their co-payments, their deductibles like they always have, but then the remainder of their bill past what the insurance pays is considered payment in full. And then the last page is a breakdown of the current charges of what we charge. And then the next column is the Medicare rural rate. And I apologize, the next column, it should say 325%, but the 3 got cut off. But that is the number, that is the 325% of the Medicare rural rate. And then the first column that is in red, that's how much money we're leaving on the table if we do nothing. And then I put in yellow highlight what I feel like the ambulance rates should be as stated by how the law is for the state of Arkansas. We're by no means obligated to raise our rates. We don't have to. It's my recommendation that we do, but ultimately it's your decision.
Mr. McClung?
Yeah, we have a lot of retirees in our area here, of course, and so just so we can understand in actual dollars and cents, a retiree on Medicare with the Advantage plan, what would he pay for an ambulance?
He'll pay the same thing that he has always paid. He'll be responsible for any co-payments or deductibles or other fees that are pre-agreed upon between him and Medicare or Medicaid or that has
if I don't know what those percentages are. You don't know what those are, what Medicare pays now?
We accept what Medicare pays as payment in full.
But the patient has to make up the difference between that and what the base rate is?
No, he only pays whatever his co-payment is for his insurance. if he has, if it's an 80/20 or percent, then they're liable for any co-payments or deductibles that they have to meet for their insurance.
It depends on their insurance coverage. So it's,
Well, I mean, I don't have the Advantage plan, so I don't know what that,
Yeah.
I don't, you know, I know a lot of people do. And I'm just real curious in that respect.
Ms. Gruny?
so when you mentioned about the demographics, do you know how many people have no insurance in our area?
No, ma'am, I don't.
You don't know?
That are completely uninsured. It would just be a wild guess.
So when I look at your spreadsheet here, you have current charges, Medicare rural rate, and then at the end, proposed rate. So really, it's proposed charges? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, the proposed
Okay.
charges, yes.
I just want to make sure I'm clear on that.
And that is just above what the 325% is.
So if you only get so much from Medicare, and I agree with Terry, I think, what's the makeup here in Eureka Springs of retired people? Like 55% of Eureka is 55 and
Well,
over?
it's high, you know, Eureka Springs and the lake, you know, the area is, you know, retirement
So
is
even though
a
we
huge percentage
raise
of our population.
these proposed rates, you still only get that Medicare amount, agreed amount. And then, and we still pay that same copay.
Yes.
So who would pay these proposed charges?
Private insurance companies.
Private, okay.
There's a big difference between what Medicare pays and what private
Absolutely.
insurance pays. Everybody knows that.
I'm aware.
They are lobbying right now. I mean, that's the purpose of that study that they did over the past 4 years, is so that they do have information that they can go to Congress and try to increase the Medicare and Medicaid amounts that they pay for ambulance transport. But right now, that's what we have to live with. And the state of Arkansas recognizes that as a problem, and they have adjusted the private insurance rates, what they felt was significant enough to make up for the difference.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Moyer?
Do you know what the total loss is that's carried by your department for providing services at the current cost?
No, I do not. We have a running total that we keep that shows account balances, but it's just there for our own information. It was up close to $1 million, I believe, but it's money that is uncollectible according to the law because we can't balance bill.
I'm just looking for other than just the fact that we can increase rates by 325%, a better argument for me, exactly would be that we are operating at a loss right now and we need this amount, we need to charge this amount more up to whatever the 325% would be in order to cover the service, right?
Yes.
I would be curious to know if that was possible to understand. I would be curious to know what that number is.
I can't say what that number is, but yeah, we do operate in a deficit every year.
I'm sure.
And it is a significant deficit.
Okay.
What is your collections, the delinquencies rate now, you know?
Since this law went into effect, it's fairly low because we're unable to go after anybody that has insurance but still owes a portion of that. So we're unable to collect anything between what their insurance paid and the current $700 or $600.
Are you still turning things over to the collection agency?
No, we can't.
You don't do it anymore? When did you quit doing that?
When this law went into effect.
I see. I didn't know that.
Now,
Okay.
there are some cases, yes, where that it is turned over to a collection agency. I'm sorry, I should have told you that. In a case where somebody does not have insurance, they are responsible for the entire bill. And if they do not pay, then yes, that is turned over to a collection agency.
So what is your rate of collection on those today? I mean, it used to be a pretty high amount, I recall, that what went into collections was a pretty significant amount of our ambulance billing. And
Yes.
so I don't know what that is anymore. I hadn't paid attention in some time, but it sounds to me like it'll get worse.
Well, it's not that it'll get worse, it just won't get any better if we do nothing. I mean, we're not able to, if we're not able to collect any more from the private insurance companies, as far as people that are self-pay, a lot of times they won't. And regardless of what kind of collections is brought upon them.
Yeah, they just refuse to pay.
Yeah. And there has always been an indigent clause in the city ordinance for some cases, and it was, we would keep that same clause in there.
Well, it sounds to me like those that are paying the private insurance, whether they're city employees or Joe Blow or whoever is paying for insurance, that you're going to raise the rates on them, and which is and more than likely will be charged back to them as a rate increase, don't you suppose?
No, they will pay only their deductible or their copay according to their insurance.
That's true. That's what they'll pay per incident. But overall, when their annual premium comes due, don't you imagine that those will increase because of the increase of the expense to the insurance companies?
It may very well. I can't say, because this is happening statewide, and it's happening in other states too. This is just becoming the new standard, and I just felt that compelled that you should know that this is the way it is now. And like I said, we're by no means obligated or have to change our billing practices, but I think we could be operating a lot closer to bottom line than we are now.
Ms. Greeny?
So if I'm hearing you correctly, to summarize this, you want to raise the current charges to try to collect from the private insurance, which we don't have a lot of, probably in this area, because you're not going to be able to sustain otherwise. And it really won't affect, it would affect people that can't pay at all, which it already does today. And then rates may or may go up. Usually it's a natural disaster or something that comes through that raises rates, or, I don't have my crystal ball, so I can't answer that. But does it have to be 325%?
No, it can be, that's just what the state legislature decided was a fair payment.
Okay, and then have you looked around the area to see if these are comparable to Berryville, Green Forest?
It will be whenever it's all said and done, because this is so new. Not everybody has made their rate changes yet.
Okay.
Everybody is in the process doing the same thing that we're doing.
Okay.
Ms. Moyer?
Sorry to keep this going. Is there additional considerations for our area that make it more expensive to operate a service like this compared to maybe the other 4,000 group that was studied?
In a way, yes, there is. Since we live in a rural area, if you'll notice, it says Medicare rural rate. There is a regular Medicare rate, which is a bit lower, but the federal government recognizes that more rural communities, they do reimburse a little bit better for that. Being in a remote location, it does raise the bills, so to speak, for the ambulance provider, not for the...
And the way this is structured, it's the current charge is like a base rate, and then you pay mileage on top of that?
That is correct.
I would love to see benchmarking of local communities as we stand now compared to others around us. And I would love to understand what the total loss is that's carried by the department to cover these services.
Okay.
If that's possible.
I think you said that they have not, some of our surrounding areas have not done this yet because it's so new.
Right. So it'd be nice to know who did and who has and who hasn't.
It's just something that I'd have to research and bring back to you.
Just if it was available, I would have an easier time. Right now, this seems very high to me, 325%. And since other communities in our area have not adopted this yet, I'm just cautious myself about such a drastic increase, and also how this feeds into rising medical costs and the impact on the overall, there's a lot of implications to this. So I'm just trying to, I would feel more comfortable maybe not being the first community, but if we were the first community, would we go to 325%? I know that we could go to 325%, but I don't know if we should go to 325%. So that's kind of why I was asking those questions.
We won't be the first, but that's what everybody will go to eventually, because that's what the state says we can collect from private insurance. No, there probably haven't been a whole lot of people do it yet because it is so new, but that's the direction it's headed. As far as, increase of medical costs or increase in deductibles, whether we adopt this or not, those are going to go up anyway.
Well, I do appreciate the briefing paper and all of the background work that you did to present this, because when I first saw it on the agenda, I was like, oh my goodness. So thank you for providing that up front.
Okay, and I will get some more information about what you asked for, and I will make sure that's available to you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Ms. Gurney?
So you said everybody's doing it. You mean everybody's raising it to 325%?
Yes, everybody will before it's all said and done.
That's the golden number here?
That's the golden number that everybody will go to, especially private organizations, because that is what the law will allow them to get from
the maximum
insurance companies.
Okay.
Mr. McClung?
I'd like to make a motion that we postpone this discussion till our next meeting and give the fire chief an opportunity to do his research and give us a chance to kind of, do a little nosing around ourselves would be good.
I second.
In other words, you want to defer this till the next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe that's what I said, yeah.
Well, long about, yeah. All right, so there's been motion to defer this to the next meeting, and by McClung and with Ms. Grinning second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, so moved. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I know it's a lot of information to digest, so but I'll bring back more information next time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next item of discussion is financing water and sewer system. Ms. Moyer.
So rather than rely on the rate increases to fund the needed water and sewer updates that we know we need, I feel it'd be more equitable to spread the cost of updates over all of those who come to Eureka Springs and enjoy the amenities here. I'm interested in pursuing a municipal bond for water, sewer, and street repair and an accompanying sales tax to retire that bond. My understanding is that our financial standing would support this, and I know that conceptually at least this would spread the cost not just to 2,000 households in Eureka, but to everyone who visits here. So I just wanted to open up the discussion to see if that was something that the council thought was worth pursuing, or if we wanted to have any further discussion on that.
So you're encouraging conversation on how to spread out the taxes amongst residents and tourists? Is that what I understand?
So we have a crumbling water sewer infrastructure, right? We know we've got several $1 million worth of repairs and updates that need to be made. That's just right now. That's not with the effect of time, as we know we are all experiencing. So I'm sure that there's more things down the road. I don't know. Simon might have a different idea, but if he does, he can please share it. I'm guessing that there are other repairs and updates that we don't know of yet that are just down the line. So this is an ongoing issue that not just we experience, but cities all over the state. In fact, the governor is trying to address this now. So the way that we're currently dealing with it is we've done a rate study. We've proposed an increase in rates to try to cover the expense of that. But what that does is it just puts the burden on the people who live here, own property here. And we're not a big community. So it's a big burden on a few people. And my thought is that if we could look for a bond issue and create a sales tax that would be dedicated to retire that bond, then everyone who comes to town and participates in all the things there is to do here would pay that tax, and that money would then be used to pay for those infrastructure improvements, both the ones, especially the ones that we have incurred up until this point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
We have been working on this since, McClellan engineers came online. I don't know, has it been a year now or better? That been a little longer, I think, that we've been doing this, and the mayor was going to get a committee together to try and come up with ideas and plans on how to subsidize payment for the increases that we have to have. Now, McClellan has worked up, projections on a lot of that, and the initial part of the money is coming with what we got approved as a loan through the state. Was it 5.5 or 6.5 million? I can't remember now.
It's over 6.
Borrowing, yeah, over 6 million to do the stuff at the sewer plant and to get the ball rolling. Yeah, so we do have the infrastructure problems with the sewer lines and the water lines, and we know that they're going to have to be tackled, and they are bringing to us sometime in the near future, hopefully, the proposals on how to where we have to have it where we'll have to set our rates to cover that, with so much going towards replacement and repairs. They're supposed to be bringing those kind of projections to us, unless I've misunderstood, but I believe that's what all that was about.
Simon, you want to come up here? That's Act 605, which the water rate study.
Pardon me?
Act 605.
Yes.
The water rate study.
Well, that's that part of it.
And that is the basis for future repairs and of
replacement. Yeah. But
and the sewer plant.
But you're right, we know that there is that need for additional revenues, whether it's, passing the hat or putting glass bottles in the banks, for donations. I mean, it's going to take, we may have to get creative. I think that there's grant money out there that we could be missing. But that's just all things that have to be checked out.
Simon, you want to?
Yeah, so the Act 605 is state mandated. We have to adopt those rates as presented. So what they did was they went through all our financials over the last few years and figured out what we're spending in the water and sewer fund and what it takes to operate, plus to come up with a 5-year capital improvement project list. And we've done all that, and that's what we're adopting. Now, if you guys want to go above and beyond that by creating another sales tax bond issue, you're more than free to do that. I think the people have to vote on it, and the last time that we had a vote, they voted it down, just to keep it in perspective. So at the next council meeting, and I failed to tell you guys this when I was up here earlier, but McClellan will be here to give a presentation on the sewer plant progress.
Good.
And what we have going on down there.
Nice.
But the Act 605 is completely separate, and if we do another bond where it comes out of the rates itself, we're going to have to redo that Act 605 rate study, which costs about $20,000, and redo that, and then re-implement new rates and everything before we pull the bond out.
So let me just ask, I'm just spitballing here, but if we created, if there was a bond issue and sales tax to help disperse the cost, and then we had to pay $20,000 to reduce progressively increasing rates for our citizens, I feel like that would be worth thinking about.
Yeah, but the two things that you're talking about don't coincide with each other. So the Act 605 has already been approved by the state. So the rates that we're going to present to you guys at the next meeting have been approved by the state already. They're not going to let us reduce that. If you decide you want to vote and do a lesser rate, you're more than free to do that.
I understand, but what happens when the next thing comes up and we have to pay for that?
The next what?
Whatever the next update, whatever the next repair.
So we have a 5-year plan that's going to start tackling those. Like, I'll give you an example, water towers. We need to start having our water towers blasted and repainted. That'll be in that 5-year capital improvement project list. In 5 more years, we're going to have to redo the Act 605 study. It'll come up with another 5-year capital improvement list. And then we'll systematically start attacking things.
Is that true? If we approved rates, water rates, we cannot amend those rates if we were to have a bond issue?
Act 605, what we're all calling Act 605, to me, pardon the pun, it was a watershed law. Nothing like that had been done in this state. And what had happened in this state, from one perspective, that's, say, the state government, the legislature, is that almost every local water and sewer system is undercharging the people who receive that. They're getting something that's valuable, but they're not paying for it. It has been subsidized by city budgets for tens or hundreds of years. And Eureka Springs is over 100 years probably. And what has happened is that one by one, these systems are going into crisis. And the state is being asked to bail them out, to rescue them. And so the Soil and Water Division of the Agriculture Department and other different funds throughout the state and the federal government are constantly being asked to either loan it at very low interest rates, loan it and forgive it. They actually call them loans of forgiveness. Strange. Or grant money. And it just had gotten to a point where the legislature got together, probably being advised by the administration, and said, we can't keep doing this. Everyone's got to make the rates what they should be. And the way they did it is they said, you got to study what it costs to run your system. And then you got to set the rates to at least pay enough money, collect enough money to run that system. They didn't even do capital repairs, basically. I mean, they're doing the 5-year plan, but they're not making people set rates to literally fix their systems because that would be too much of a jump. But that's why places like West Fork, Arkansas now have the highest rates in the state, because they just got finished doing the project they needed to do to actually treat the water. And they didn't last long. Another little town became the highest, and then we just saw Bentonville increase by 100%. This is going to just go across the state, and they started with water, and then they do sewer. And what we're finding out is it's very painful, but we're all finding out that we're not paying enough. We don't like the bill, but we're not paying enough for it. Your thought, the proposal you just mentioned, I mean, it's brilliant because, yes, cities shouldn't pay for, all the services that everybody comes in and uses, and there's very few cities more than Eureka Springs where people come in from the outside and use the infrastructure, the streets, the water, the sewer, the police, the ambulance. And so having a sales tax, those elections should never fail because people in the city don't pay it. I mean, yes, they pay it, but literally they don't pay in Eureka Springs, they will not pay the majority, if not vast majority of the collections will not be paid by citizens of Eureka. Maybe not vast majority, but I would think, and I'm kind of walking on a limb there because I haven't done that arithmetic. That's my guess. And so these, I agree, these can't be changed. The state's going to tell us how to set them. We will not be able to subsidize those more than the state will let us. But there still won't be enough money to fix everything that needs to be fixed. Right now, the sales tax rate, the local rate is 2.3 or so in Eureka.
I believe so.
2.375.
2.375. So we have a penny that's being collected, the first penny, the second penny is being collected, and then of the third penny, we're collecting 0.375 of the third. And I say pennies because the state law allows cities to adopt sales taxes for certain purposes. One of them is being paid to retire a bond.
Which will retire in 27.
Okay. And yep, there's $25,000 left maybe on that, looks like.
Yeah.
And I think the other one maybe is general and street or just mayor. Forgive me, I don't know. But if you wanted to, if the city council wanted to ask for an election for that, either another penny or to finish off the one that's at 375.
Of course, we also have the 3-cent sales tax on lodging and restaurants.
Right. Yeah, you get your 3 pennies on food and lodging.
Right.
That doesn't come to the city, of course. It goes to
CAPC.
Does that 1% for parks come to the city, or does it go to the parks?
It goes to the city, but it goes to the parks.
It must go to parks, yeah. So I'm sorry, go on and on, but
Yeah.
I think the answer is both. That has to be done, and then, sorry.
Okay.
Mr. McClung?
Yeah, we initiated the I&I fund several years back. We initiated the I&I fund to help build a nest egg for repairs and replacement that we didn't have. We also accelerated bond payments so we could get our bonds paid off early so we could do another bond issue, so we would be in a position to do that, because we knew, to the best of our ability to plan ahead, that if by accelerating, sooner we'd be ready to do another bond issue. And that we got this one will be paid off in 27, and we'll be ready.
I believe that bond also for 27 is not a water sewer bond.
No, but it puts us in position
Yeah.
where we'll have the money to repay a bond.
Now, remember too, and I know Mr. McClung was here, and Ms. Moya was too, wasn't on council. I think 4 or 5 years ago, we tried to do the 1-cent sales tax dedicated to water and sewer. Well, actually, it was 3/4 to water and sewer and 1/4 to the auditorium. And it overwhelmingly failed.
There was very strong opposition that was
True.
that
And that's
was
what
misguided.
instigated the I&I fund, because we didn't need to have that, and so
Yeah,
council
that's right.
do that. And then maybe his sentiment now be different, so, on there, Ms. Gruning?
So 4 or 5 years ago, I remember that vote because we had just moved here full-time, and it seemed like the focus was more on the auditorium and less on for supporting the water increase by the 1% that tourism would help pay for. I think now that water rates have gone up, that they may rethink that why should we, the citizens, pay for the big problem?
My guess is that.
I would hate to say because it didn't work 4 or 5 years ago that it wouldn't work today.
No, absolutely. And I think it's a great idea. And when we tried to do it in the past, the same premise was the citizens aren't paying this tax. 90% of the tax is going to be generated by the visitors. And
People
1
coming
cent
in,
is
that's
a
true.
minor amount, even though our total overall percentage will go up to 16, 17%. But, still. Yes, Terry.
This is a very important discussion, but we can sit here tonight and talk about the cows come home and with resolving nothing. What we need to do, I believe, is I would encourage the mayor once again to put together the ad hoc committee to discuss things like the sales tax increase for bond issues, or any and all other avenues of raising the money like we had talked about doing before. And I know several people that, you had spoken with about being on it, but it just never did materialize. And I'm sure that they would still, I feel sure that they would still be interested in, in trying to be a service to the city in that respect.
You want to make a motion to that effect?
Absolutely. I would like to make a motion that we have the mayor form an ad hoc committee regarding sewer and water repairs, replacements, future revenue stream.
Sure. Can you get a second?
Second.
All right. Mr. Almazzini?
I think that's a good idea from Terry, but Rochelle, I wanted to know, do you know of any other cities in this situation and how they've handled it, the other tourist cities?
Well, I know there are communities all around us who are doing that, but Springdale, Siloam Springs, there's a lot. There's a lot. How many
Are they tourist
around us
towns?
that you're aware of, Attorney?
No,
Yeah.
that I don't know.
They're not tourist towns.
They say that, tourism is becoming more and more the primary economic driver in the state of Arkansas. But
Absolutely.
there's no town like Eureka that I know.
Hot Springs, is it close?
Hot Springs?
Not.
Or even out of Arkansas, let's
Hot
choose
Springs
a,
is probably the second, right?
like we
What was
chose
the
this
question?
tourists. I'm trying to figure out if there is information out there that another city in the same situation as us, how they've handled it, how they're dealing with, the 1 million
With the
tourists
aging
coming in.
infrastructure, and you're talking about with the aging infrastructure and continued tourism?
And taxing those tourists.
Yeah.
Putting the tax on the tourists and not the residents.
Is your thought that that would somehow negatively impact tourism? Or is your thought that an additional tax would negatively impact?
No, I don't think it would at
somehow?
all. I don't think tourists really pay that much attention to it. It's our residents that do. And if we can find a way to separate something out, a 1 cent tax on, water usage or whatever it may be, and if we can break it out into a tourist-only tax. No, there's no way to do that?
The closest thing is your CAPC, right?
Yeah.
Because it's lodging.
Mm-hmm.
And also have the 3 cents on prepared food.
Now, you said there's no way, but is it illegal? Is that what you're saying that?
Yes.
Oh, why is it illegal?
As far as a sales tax would be.
Okay.
There's no way to charge a sales tax on anything but just sales.
It has to be across the board.
I know a little town up in Oregon, they put a higher rate on like vacation homes and rental properties. So these addresses would pay more than a permanent resident or, you know.
You mean like a CAPC tax?
No, it's like the actual water rate or the sewer rate was raised for vacation homes, rental places.
They probably pay a commercial rate.
Yeah, I don't know. But I read the article about it, and that's how they dealt with their issue in a small town smaller than Eureka Springs.
Maybe they require them to get commercial meters.
Yeah.
You know, if they're going to have, they're going to be.
That's what I would say.
Yeah. Could do. But,
Do what?
I said it would violate the due process clause otherwise. I mean, I don't think you can, there's got to be some other way they're doing that.
Yeah.
So Berryville's at 2%. And the idea is everybody comes to shop in Berryville, right? So, you know, Berryville's being taxed, but everyone's coming to that place to shop from the whole region. And so, you know, again, Berryville's collections are paid a smaller percentage by their residents than by their visitors.
The Walmart's a large tax generator for Berryville. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So they're at 9%. I mean, I don't know if they have a CAPC, an AMP tax or not. But.
All right, well, we got a motion to establish an ad hoc committee, which I've started in the past and got dropped. And it's motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, so moved. I'll get that started again. Okay. All right, our next item is a discussion of an RFP for independent hospital audit. We've talked about this in the past. I know the council is interested in doing something on that, and we get a motion to discuss first.
Motion to discuss.
Second.
Okay. All right, well, it looks like Ms. Moyer's already had something prepared, so I'll just let Ms. Moyer talk about it.
I know we had some email conversations back and forth, and Michael's help and the mayor's support, I've just prepared a potential list of items to include in the RFP just to focus the review, just as something to put in front of council to take a look at. But really, this is just a continuation of a conversation that we had during our workshop about questions that we had regarding the financials of the hospital. My understanding, just in layman's terms, is that, to Heather's point made earlier tonight, financial review and reconciliation is a process of verifying the accuracy of specific financial transactions and balances by comparing internal records with external sources. So, for example, you say looking at a bank balance, that would then be verified by actually looking at bank statements. That is the example of a review and reconciliation. Just giving that sort of extra verification process to what's being reported. So this really, a lot of this legwork was done by Michael and presented through the mayor as an option, but goes through what a potential independent third party what we're asking a third party to do, and include in the RFP that these are the things we would be asking them to do for a specified period. So we know we have audits that can go to 24, and I think the point that came out of our workshop was that since 2025, things look a little wonky on the reporting, on the financial reporting side from the Hospital Commission. So this would be a way where we could kind of regroup, stabilize, and understand exactly how much revenue and expenses are occurring in a verified way. Providing proof of cash for all cash and investment accounts, January 1st, 2025 to June 30th, which is half of a year, right? Or we could ask for year to date. And anyway, I just, again, this was not done totally by me, but I wanted to print it off and let you guys look at it and see if we wanted to discuss if any additional items might need to be included in an RFP for a third-party review.
Mr. McClung?
Did you run any of this past Mike? Has he seen this?
Yes, he has.
Okay, I figured he probably had. And what?
Michael, you've got a copy of this?
Okay, yeah. This looks like, is this some of the stuff from the AUP audit? Okay, yeah.
Yes.
So one of the things that we do at the water department, whenever I came in, they were several years behind on the water audits. So what we were able to do is an AUP, it's agreed upon procedures to where they come in and they kind of just do an overview and they do some of these proofs of cash and some things like that. They don't actually go in and look at every bill, every payment, that kind of stuff. It's more of an overview. It's not as in-depth as a year audit that you're going to have from like Forvis or from Leg Audit or something like that. So, but this is approved by Leg Audit. They do approve you to be able to use these kind of audits. So we've used them for several years for our water department since it's an enterprise fund, kind of like the hospital.
Mr. McClung?
So what Ms. Moyer's provided us here, this is something that you say is doable. That's a format. That's what we're looking for, right? These are the items that she believes we need to address. And do you see these all falling within those guidelines?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
The one thing that you're probably, the main question that's kind of asked is the cash been accounted for, and has been accounted for in a right way? So you could do some proofs of cash with your bank statements. When you have an audit, and I was telling Rochelle this earlier, when you have an audit, the very first thing they usually ask us for is our bank statements with the reconciliations on them. So it would be interesting to see if those reconciliations are up to date at the hospital. They don't have that many bank accounts, so it wouldn't be, we've got 30 different accounts. Mm-hmm. So it would be a little bit, I think they only have 4 or 5 or how many they have. So, seeing if that was reconciled, if those kind of things were reconciled, I think that would be something that we may want to look at. Is the bank statements, just to see if they've been reconciled and have that proof of cash. Because what you're getting is, and this is something that we talked about at the workshop, the reports that you're getting are reports that are coming out of the system. It's similar to a lot of my reports that are coming out of the system. They're not audited. There's mistakes in them. You're going to make mistakes. That's kind of how you find the mistakes, is by printing the reports and looking at them. I spend a lot of time of my day going through, looking into each individual accounts, making sure that the light bill got posted right in that account and the fuel got posted right over here. So that's kind of what you're looking at, is to make sure that those things are correct that they've put in there, but the things that they're giving you are not audited financials. The audited financials you get are from Forvis. They're the ones that you have for 21, 22, and I believe 23. They're saying 24 is going to be out in August. So those will be audited. But the things that they're giving you at the workshops and stuff, those are what they're printing out of their systems, which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. I'm just saying that those are, those aren't audited financials.
So you're saying that what they're presenting us is not necessarily out of bounds for what they're presenting us?
No.
Okay.
Can you, Michael, what's your experience with, I notice trying to get independent review and the reconciliation from January through June. I know we have a hard time getting our audits.
We do. the bigger fish get fried first, and so your bigger towns and your bigger cities, they're the ones who capture the attentions of your Forvis and your other entities like that. I have to stay on them constantly. I have to, constantly send them emails, good cop, bad cop, between me and Tabby of, when can we get this? We've got to get this. So it is difficult. You get pushed to the bottom. So those are a little bit difficult to get. In an AUP like this, you wouldn't necessarily have to have a Forvis to do it. You could hire an accountant, a CPA, an independent person that, you felt like had no ties to anything, that could come in and give you the report also, because they could look at the same things. And it might be quicker.
Would Forbes, their report that we're going to be getting into this month, with that, of course, that doesn't have anything to do with January to June. That's just the.
It's going to be all through 24. It's going to be all through 24. They're not going to have they'll look at a few things in January 25, but it's not going to really be completed in their reports. They're going to. The one thing that would be good about waiting on the 24 is having a starting point, because whenever you have an auditor that's going to come in and audit something, they want a good base, a good place to start. So right now, you're going to have to hand them the 23 audit, and they're going to have to start there, kind of do their own audit through 24 and then into 25. So if you get that audit from Forvis that's through the end of 24, then that gives them a really good place to start, so that they could do your January through June, your 6 months, 7 months, whatever you wanted there.
So in the meantime, we could go ahead and start an RFP.
Yes, but I mean, if you think that's the road you want to go, we probably should go ahead and start that, because it will take some time to find the right person and get a cost. We could see what it's going to cost, and those kind of things.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Rochelle, did you have something?
Oh, yeah, I was just, I think in the workshop, it was mentioned that the 24 audit would be presented in August, available in August.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions or thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think this is the place to stop. I think we need to make a motion that we and I'm not sure.
Go ahead and start on an RFP.
Pardon me?
Go ahead and start an RFP, a request for proposal for.
Yes, I think that's what we need to do. We're at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't
the thing
stop
about
now.
If we go ahead and do the RFP, it's not going to cost us anything to do that. We could go ahead and send it out. It'll take a little while for those to come back in, because we'll have to give them a deadline of when we want it back in by. That gives it time to start working for the Forvis audit to get here. Then maybe they coincide at the same time, and then we look at the Forvis audit and go, hey, everything looks great. We don't think we're going to need to move forward. Or we say, yeah, we still want to look at 25 even though this audit, and then we've already got it ready to go. Because anything we can speed up and get out of the way will only be to our benefit, because it will slow down once we get with the audit.
I like that.
Mr. Alvanzini?
I was just going to go ahead and, Terry, make a motion to institute an RFP for independent review and reconciliation of hospital financials for the period January 1, 2025 through June 30, 2025, or year to date. It's written at the top of the form, so you can get it.
Okay. All right, did you get a second?
Second.
All right.
Which one do you want, the 2025 or year-to-date?
I think
June 30th.
January to June. January 1st to June 30th, 2025.
Okay, so not,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
That'll be good.
All right, we've got a motion to prepare an RFP for an independent review and reconciliation of hospital financials for a period of January 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2025. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? So moved. All right, we'll get that started. All right.
Who seconded that?
I second it.
Okay, thank you, sorry.
I'm not sure. Did you get a second?
She got it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm good.
All right. Next item of business is hospital finance. Ms. Moyer.
So I just wanted to follow up on some of the things that we covered in the workshop. The positive news is that there's finally some awareness to the hospital financials, and we have a basic financial reporting formalized now, and we've created some accountability. In the workshop, we were able to confirm that there's more than $3 million in liability, which probably should have money reserved and set aside for. And for the record, the balance sheet still doesn't balance, but we're getting closer. So a couple of things. Michael responded to me today. He had mentioned an account, another bank account. The commission did have an account that had about $16,000 in it. It was in the name of the commission and not the hospital, and that has never been reported to us. My understanding is that they have closed that account as of the last commission meeting. I've looked at the financial reports dated 6/30 because I hadn't had a chance to really do that before our workshop, and I still have some concerns. So kind of just going back to a point, the first balance sheet we received showed $6.9 million in total cash, and then they made an adjustment just hours before our workshop, which they explained, and then reported $5.5 million in cash as of 5/31, and $5.6 million for 6/30. So that's on the balance sheet. The adjustment functionally, I went back and looked and added and subtracted numbers. It functionally shifted approximately $1.3 million from cash to accounts receivable. So they just moved it from cash and equivalents to the next line, accounts receivable. So that results in what they're currently reporting as $3 million in accounts receivable. So I went back, that seems like a lot of money, but I looked back at the accounts receivable history that was provided by Michael at our workshop, the thing that he passed out to us, and $3 million is definitely historically high. So my question is, did we just move money from one line to another, or are there things to verify that we actually have $3 million in accounts receivable? If you look at the income statement for 6/30, you'll see that there's been no bad debt reported for the entire year. No bad debt reported since January, actually since December of last year. My guess is that when someone makes that adjustment, revenue will show $1.3 million less than what it currently shows. Again, what does this mean? I believe this is further evidence that the financials are not adequately being overseen. I maintain that the CFO who reports to the commission and/or the commission are all responsible for steering the ship, but things aren't really adding up in a way that makes me feel comfortable. So I asked myself, why isn't the commission having these discussions? Why aren't they asking the same questions? Shouldn't they be asking these questions of the CFO? If it's true, as some people would argue, that the commission is a group of volunteers and they're just simply reporting what's given to them, then where it lies, where the responsibility lies, is with the CFO. And if you look at last year's financials, something as simple as bad debt was reported and recorded every month and has not been recorded at all this year. Very simple bookkeeping functions do not show up in the reports. If I were a commissioner, I would be insisting on completing a mid-year budget review. I think that is absolutely a number one priority to guide future spending. I would be asking lots of questions. all the ones that I'm asking, all the ones that you guys are asking, and probably more questions. And I don't hear those happening at the commission meetings. That concerns me. Loose financial reporting, historically low patient visits, ongoing spending. They just hired another person, clinical director. I feel it's just, it may be a moot point months from now, I don't know. But again, I feel like it's our responsibility to say something. I also receive ongoing reports weekly, and they're getting more consistent about people who've used hospital services and their billing is incorrect. And this is from people who don't even live in this town. So at this point, I question a lot of things, which is why I think the RFP and a third-party review is important and probably helpful for a new CEO coming in. While we're waiting on a reconciliation process, I was considering asking whether council wanted to put forth a resolution asking for a formal request for aging accounts receivable schedule. That aging accounts receivable schedule should show $3 million in accounts receivable. I did share this with Michael and the mayor. There may be some HIPAA violation issue, but I think that the name on the account could be redacted in a way that would comply with HIPAA requirements and allow us to see if there is, in fact, an aging accounts receivable schedule. January year to date, if we decided to do that. Of course, copies of all bank account statements, and I would say formally all bank account statements, both those that the hospital and the hospital commission are responsible for. I didn't realize we had to make that distinction when we asked for that before, but I would ask for that. Actual statements with account information hidden is fine, but a copy of an actual statement, not a report, of all accounts, and proof of closed accounts, as well as a report of where the $16,000 went. And that's my review of June. But I'm curious what you guys think.
I have a question. We've called Sandy in here before, and can we motion to ask the CFO to come and answer these questions directly?
I think that probably goes beyond asking for reporting as far as a motion or a demand, but I think you could ask for it. I think it makes sense. It sounds like there's, I don't want to say relationship, but a working, maybe a new working system is being formed with the workshop and such.
Yeah, and we are trying. And
yeah, let's have another one. Please bring.
I hear Rochelle when she says that information is being siphoned to another person. And we need to ask questions directly of the CEO about what is going on. So I think I will go ahead and make a motion that we have the CFO and the commission president at the next city council meeting. Why are you saying no?
We can't require them to have the CFO here. You can have the motion. You can do that all you want, but it's not going to be.
So then what's the difference between having like Mike Maloney here?
We can ask. We can ask if they'll show up, but far as requiring a hospital employee to show up is beyond the scope of this council.
Would you do that in a workshop setting, an informal workshop setting, or would you? Because
whatever's best for everybody.
Because I think that when you're saying, let's put together a workshop, let's get an agenda together, let's get some of our questions so you'll be prepared. And would you please have these people, because that's what we would like to do to have a productive workshop. I think that has.
I mean, I was actually surprised that at the last workshop, they weren't even present.
I don't know how productive that would be at this point, but yeah, no. Well, I we could be optimistic and try to do that again. I think my understanding is we can only do so much, right? But my concern is that there is no real current financial oversight on the commission side. I don't hear these. I mean, I'm just, every single time I look at them, I find something else, and I'm shocked, surprised that it's not there. So I just, maybe this part is not necessary, and I'm just providing this as, here's my perspective, here's what I've seen. Let's continue with the RFP. I think everything that I've seen continues to support that we need a third party to look at the financials if we have any hopes of continuing with the hospital because of the reasons that I said. I'm not sure we're solid on exactly how much money, how much revenue there is. There's low patient visitation, and the spending continues.
I think with Forbes making their report at the end of this month, that should shed a lot of light on things.
For 2024. But a lot of things have happened since
But it's going to give us a good starting point. I know you're concerned with this year, and I'm looking at the balance sheet, and they do, they mention the bad debt on this one that I see. So, there's the accounting isn't, I'm like you, it gets a little confusing, and I'm not sure, but I think we're getting something at the Forbes, at least we can find out some information on what's happening, and at the same time getting our AFP for the January through June. I think that's going to answer more questions than anything, and also getting that information out there. Ms. Grunin?
I don't know that I agree with that because they're auditing the past year unless it shows there were mistakes last year and started off in a not a clean way for this year. We're looking at this year, and I like David's idea, bring in the CFO in and let's have our answer questions and be done with it. If we have to, we know the report's coming out, but we don't know when. We're not scheduled. So it could be another month or two trying to plan everybody's schedule around it. It just seems like we're pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. I think we try to get the CFO in and ask the questions, who should be aware of all of these anyway, and forthcoming in my mind.
We can certainly ask her to come here, but we can't require her to be here.
I understand. But we can ask.
Yes, Ms. Moyer.
I have a question of you, really. Is there a way to compel the commission to do a mid-year budget revision?
I think that, I'm not quite sure what you mean revise, to match their actuals or to?
Yeah, they've already overspent the adopted 2025 budget. They've already overspent that, and I'm concerned that they're just kind of spending blind,
So I think I'll be frank.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
But you can request that specific reporting. So reporting on, where are you now? You could even ask, could you please report on any plans you have with regard to adjustments that you're going to make in light of these things?
Okay. Like a mid-year adjustment.
Those are questions that I think you could ask, but saying you must change your budget, no, we'd be trying to control the finances.
Okay.
I think we already asked those questions.
We have.
But, yes.
Okay.
Which was why I was asking, could we compel them? So perhaps that's all food for thought. I mean, I would like to formally request an update on the current status of the budget and any revisions or plans they have relating to 2025 budget.
And we also have a motion on the table, I believe, right?
You didn't finish. Did I kind of interrupted you? Do you his question was, do you want it at the next meeting or do you want a specific workshop? Put that in a.
What do you guys think? Another workshop or just a meeting?
Yeah, I'm out until Tuesday.
Okay, I mean, I'm compelled to say at the next city council meeting, a lot of people want answers. We need to give it to them. We need the answers. So I'm just going to say,
I'm out of the country till August 8th. Also, but
Mr.
that,
McClung?
we should be good for that, yeah.
I think you'd have a better response out of them in an informal workshop.
why do you think that?
I don't know. I think that if they were coming to a council meeting, that they might feel intimidated.
I mean, I could definitely see that, and I understand why you're saying that.
I would think that we're wanting a workshop. We're trying to get to the bottom of some stuff and working together. That's the whole point of the city and the commissions are to work together, whether it's the CAPC or Parks or the hospital, which we're talking about. And the hospital workshop would, to me, would be the logical solution. Commission, I mean, we can do whatever the council wants, but at an agenda, we've got a long list of items we want to address. And I think workshop, we're on one item, and that's what we're talking to.
I'd like to hear the attorney's response on that.
I've been going to meetings. Now I'm so old, I get to say stuff like this. I've been going to meetings for over 30 years. I do feel like city council meetings are pressure-filled situations. Sometimes that's good, but not for discussions. For one thing, I feel like, when someone makes a comment about an ordinance, it's very difficult for a city council that's about to consider that ordinance to take that into account. Those things need to be done with constituents, before the meeting, I feel strongly, because, what happens is the rhetoric and the procedure gets ratcheted up so quickly. No one knows, when can I talk? When can't I talk? What's the motion? What's on the table? Is your time limit up? And the echo, and, that's how I feel about trying to have sharing information, coming to an understanding is very difficult to do in a city council session. I'm not a believer in lots of meetings. I'm really not. But I do think that when you get together with an agenda ahead of time, some expectations in an informal way, that's when you can make more progress, in my experience.
Okay, understood. So I'll withdraw that motion and have a second motion to establish a workshop with the hospital commission to include the CFO and city council.
And, meaning that both can set agenda items.
And repeat that again?
I don't want to be in a position where we were with the last workshop, where only the commission set the agenda. I want to participate in the agenda setting for the workshop. I want the council to participate.
And Michael Akins be there as well.
That'd be great,
I'm sorry.
And Michael Akins be there as well, the workshop,
if he agrees.
if he would.
He has no voice.
All right.
The other thing I was going to just kind of throw out there is, if you want me to, I could meet with the CFO from the hospital, address some of our concerns, ask some of the questions, see if I could get some of the answers, and then report them back to you, prior to the workshop, to kind of see if we could bridge that gap. That would not be such a high pressure environment. It would be more of a CFO to CFO type conversation and try to answer some of those questions. I'd be more than willing to do that. I just, I want to facilitate to help this if there's any way that I possibly can.
I think the mayor can authorize him to do that. Can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I think there's a motion here to have a workshop with the hospital commission and city council, and having this, getting the CFO there also, if at all possible. So Is that basically the motion? All right. Any further discussion?
Need a second?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Mr. Amazino made the motion, and, all right, Ms. Moore, you made the second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. All right. Mr. Amazino and your Tushy.
My Tushy's great,
Tushy
thank you.
report.
How was your Tushy?
How's your Tushy?
Works pretty good.
How's your bum? You installed the bidet, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay. How's it working out for you?
It takes some getting used to.
Good. So yes, I did have a conference call with Tushy, and surprisingly enough, I think he is the director of their advertising campaign is from Bentonville. So he knows all the problems that we have here in Eureka Springs, so that made it a little bit easier. And they're going to start off, they gave me several different plans, one of the plans being individual sessions, video sessions with the mayor and Simon and people in town that are having issues with the sewer system and those that are using bidets or Tushy bidets in general. They're really, really excited about it, and I was glad to have the meeting. So they went back and they're going to discuss, I think they gave me 3 or 4 options of things that they wanted to do. And then they're going to decide which one they want to do and get back with us and let us know. So I'm glad they're still in the game. And I just can't come up with a butt pun right now, sorry.
All right. Anything else? Any questions for David on this Tushy? All right.
It's all over the web anyway.
All right, Madam Clerk, you have a second quarter financial summary. Motion to discuss.
So moved.
Second.
So you just have the comparative bank balances and long-term liability. You get those from Michael in your budget packets, but that's part of what I'm required to give to you. And then you have a quarterly financial comparatives chart that I create that compares accounts payable, payroll, and cash receipts quarterly this year to last year. And then if you want any detailed reporting, you can get those from me.
Any questions for the clerk? All right, that concludes our new business agenda setting.
I do have one.
Okay.
I'd like to request an agenda item for the next council meeting to discuss recent conduct concerns involving a council member and any potential actions that the council may consider in response.
That was kind of a long agenda item. What was it again? Discussion of council conduct?
Next council meeting to discuss recent conduct concerns involving a council member and any potential actions.
Why don't you just discuss action, we'll go from actions afterwards. All right. We'll go from there. All right, anybody else? All right, council comments. Ms. Gruning, I'll start on your side.
I don't have a lot to say. I was busy with my mom this past weekend again, so I would say, except for the heat, I hope I don't know. That's it, really. Nothing.
Mr. Holyfield?
CAPC workshop, August 13th. The regular meetings, August 27th, scheduled. I did attend all the 3 operas at the Opera of the Ozarks. Wonderful building, wonderful sound. There's not a bad seat in the whole house. I think it seats like 300 or something like that. It's wonderful. It's such a plus to our community to have such a wonderful place out there. 75 years and still going. Cemetery tours continues Saturdays at 11 for $20 all the way through the end of September. So if y'all want to learn a little history, come out to the cemetery at 11 on Saturdays. Thank you.
Mr. Amazino?
I don't have anything.
All right. Ms. Moyer?
I just wanted to acknowledge all those that came for public comments and appreciate this group as always. And that's about it.
I just wanted to agree with Steve on the opera. I did get to go to see the Merry Widow. Rochelle was there. It was great. It really was, and it is first class. You've been there already, and tried to get tickets for 2 other shows, and they were sold out. So
Yeah.
there you go.
You're going to have to make your reservations early if you want to go.
That's right. Yeah, I learned a lesson.
Yep. Limited seating.
Yep.
And there's no balcony seating. All right. Community blood drives, Tuesday, July 29th, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. at End of the Ozarks. Lower level at the Willow Room. So all donors will receive a free day passport to Super Splash USA and a CBCO beach towel while supplies last. Plus, donors will be entered to win a $10,000 dream vacation. So, you know, there's a lot of encouragement here for the blood drive. It's not just to, most important is to give blood, but they've got some incentives here. Grady Nichols will be live in Basin Park Friday, August 1st from 6 to 8. Eureka Springs Jazz Weekend, Friday, August 1 through 3rd. It's all around town, so that'll be a lot of fun. And then the summer yards and yards of yards sales will be taking place August 1st through the 3rd also. And the official garage sales maps will be available at yardsyards.com. That's yardsyards.com. And then, as Mr. Holyfield said, you can step into the past with Eureka Springs Historical Cemetery Tour. August 2nd at 11 p.m., a guided 60-minute walking tour that's offered every Saturday at 11, May through July, I guess August?
Through September now.
Through
August and
September.
September.
Okay, out at the cemetery. Basin Park Concert Series, Alicia Patillo Electric Band, Saturday, August 2nd. Drumming in the Park, Saturday, August 2nd, 6 to 8. And then the 1973 Long Hair Invasion, Eureka Springs Historical Museum time travel event. This will be Friday, August 8th, 6 to 9 p.m. at End of the Ozarks. So break out your tie-dyes and bell-bottoms and your sandals.
Are they showing the movie?
Beg pardon?
They're not showing the movie that night.
They will be showing a film of the Ozark Folk Festival.
Are they showing it that night then?
I'll be showing it there too, I believe. Yeah. And if you hadn't seen that, that's an amazing.
I don't dress any different now than I did then.
Yeah. And they may be sold out. I don't know. If you want to go, you better call and get your tickets. Also, the Basin Park Concert Series, Saturday, August 9th, 4 to 6. Americana Roots Duo, musical narrative. So, with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
All right. So moved.